Hello, everybody. Let's dive into our Pac-12 coaches ranking. As always, we have not consulted each other before the list. We will horse trade the list until it's done, as you'll see, especially in the Pac-12. The bottom's going to be a little interchangeable. I mean, it's actually a pretty talented list, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like, unlike some other conferences, there's no one that I just outright think sucks. I think there's some potential here, but we'll get to it. The top, though, I'll be interested to see where you landed here. Because in the number one spot, I think it's, what are you going for, results or potential, Aaron Murray? Who is your number one coach in the Pac-12?
I'm going with results. I'm going with Kyle Whittingham as my number one guy.
Okay.
Yes. Is that you? Same as you?
Well, no. I had Riley one.
Oh.
And I went with potential. Just because I think he's going to pass up Whittingham. But it is inarguable that Whittingham has been the dominant force now for a long time.
Yes.
Well, it was 1 year. It was 1 year, though.
Well, it's been 2 years they've beat him and beat him twice last year too. So, that's the final hurdle for Lincoln Riley right now to kind of, but the problem is he only has 1 year to do it. So I think right now you're saying, okay, the potential, well, that potential has to happen now. It's not, he's not going to be a Pac-12 coach come next season. So as of right now, the guy who has been the best coach in the Pac-12 has been Kyle Whittingham there at Utah, the most consistent team. And the guy that you have number one has a 1 year window right now in order to beat him to reign supreme over the Pac-12 before they go on and move to the Big Ten. So that's a little bit of a problem. I don't know if he's going to be able to.
You freaked me out, though. Lincoln Riley's only been at USC for 1 year, right? Yes, I just had to look it up because you said it's been 2 years.
USC has lost a couple. Yes, Utah has been dominant.
But why am I going to hold Lincoln Riley to the sins of Clay Helton or whatever? No. What I'm saying is Kyle Whittingham has objectively been the best coach in the Pac-12. Yes. But if I come to you, Aaron, and I say you can hire Kyle Whittingham or Lincoln Riley, who are you hiring?
It's not fair because I'm an offensive guy.
Okay, dude.
Of course, I'm going to go with Lincoln Riley and his offense. I mean, what he's done at Oklahoma to USC in year one, of course, that gets me all hot and bothered inside. I'm all riled up watching what he does with Caleb and those offenses from Baker and Kyler. But, right now, if I had to put my money on this year, who do I want to be my head coach to lead my team in the Pac-12? I would put my money on Kyle Whittingham. I think he has had less talent at Utah than USC, than Oregon, than Washington, but has found a way to be the most consistent team in that conference. I think there's something to it. I mean, there's no sex appeal to it. There's no flashiness to it. There's no elite offense or elite defense. They just play really good fundamental football on both sides. They're very physical at the line of scrimmage. It's a boring style of football, which is not exciting to a lot of people. And obviously Lincoln Riley plays a very exciting brand of football, which is where it gets a little bit tough here. But I'm a results guy. Kyle has produced the results that I want and why I'm going to stick with him heading into this season.
So you don't believe that Lincoln Riley's going to produce those same results? And the results that Lincoln Riley did at Oklahoma when it's all those playoffs and won all the Big 12 championships don't matter either? Like if we're giving Kyle Whittingham credit for winning Pac-12 championships, I don't know. I kind of stand unconvinced. And I feel you. Kyle Whittingham has squeezed blood from the stones. He has been more consistent at winning big at Utah than we would have ever thought it to be possible. And I agree that in terms of coaching, he has maximized his talent. He has overproduced, right? That's how we judge these lists a lot of times. But at the same time, getting in elite talent is one of the core tenets of coaching. What did Lincoln Riley do this offseason? And granted, I mean, NIL, you could say it's unfair, but I mean, he brought in a great front seven. So we'll see. I'm trying to think how knives out I want to go with this.
I'll give it to you. I'll go Lincoln because it was a coin toss for me because I love Lincoln. I love what they're doing. I agree. There's something in me that wants to say, hey, get back on that Trojan horse and we're petite Trojan boys heading into the season. But they were the better team last year and they lost twice. And until you can prove it to me that USC can beat Utah and that they can make it happen this year, it's kind of hard. I think the one advantage is obviously Utah's quarterback is banged up heading into the season. When is he going to be back? Will he be back for that matchup? Will that kind of knock them out of even being able to maybe get a rematch in the Pac-12 championship game? Who knows? I'm talking about Cam Rising here. So, yeah, I guess if you want to look at, because of the issue with Cam Rising, who do I project to win the Pac-12 this year in this rating? Then I would go with USC. But like, am I basing that off of talent or am I basing that off of coaching? That's the hard part. Like, yeah, we know USC is more talented. Yeah, we know Oklahoma was probably more talented than everyone else. It's a big brand. It is the biggest brand besides Texas in that conference. They had better players. Lincoln's a great coach, but he's also benefited from coaching the best players in America also. I do think there's something to be said for Whittingham, like you said, coaching 3-star guys to 4-star and 5-star, talent at the end of the day.
I agree. But guess what? This ain't the most overachieving coaching list, Like, is Kirby Smart good because he's an X's and O's genius? Or is he good because he's had like 7 first-rounders on the defense the last couple of years? Like, what are we talking about?
I'm giving it to you. I told you I'll go with Lincoln. We'll go Lincoln.
Look, I agree. Look, shout out Kirk Ferentz, shout out Kyle Whittingham. They are awesome. Whittingham even better than Ferentz in that regard. But look at the conference championship. Look at the Heisman winners. Look at what he did in 1 year at USC. Lincoln Riley's a clear 1. Kyle Whittingham a clear 2. And then Aaron at 3. I feel very firm about Kalen DeBoer. Where are you at? And I'm not being a slave to the moment here. Okay, some of y'all may say I'm a slave to the moment. That is untrue. Okay, if you look at DeBoer's coaching resume, he is one of those coaches that has won at every single level that he's been at. He started as a young coach as the head coach of Sioux Falls, which is an NAIA school. His year 1 in Sioux, he went 11-2, He went 11-2, lost in the semifinals. He would go on to win 3 of the next 4 NAIA national championships with a combined 56-1 record. He then gets a job at Fresno during COVID, 3-3 the COVID year. I don't give a shit if you do good or bad or COVID year. I don't count it. 9-3 the next year. Year 1 at Washington, gets the Huskies all the way back to 11-2. Are you kidding me? Give me DeBoer pumping the Penix this fall. You're Washington Huskies, number 3 coach in the Pac-12.
Give me that lefty ready to go. I'm with you on this one. I think Washington right now is in the position, with obviously Oregon, if the Pac-12 somehow does stay alive, which I'm still not anticipating they do, of being one of the top 2 teams that kind of emerge as like the steady team that's competing to make it to the playoffs every single year starting in 2024. So I'm with you. I think he's a hell of a coach. You said it's won everywhere he's been. So yeah, let's keep him at number 3.
Okay, who you got at 4, Aaron? You go next.
I got Dan Lanning at 4. Same thing. I think he's inherited a program that has been one of the dominant programs in college football for a long time. They're going to continue to recruit well. They got the facilities. Obviously, he comes from a very good tree of coaching that knows what it takes to win championships. He's kind of seen, behind the closed doors and behind the current of what it takes to be a champion, and had a great year in year 1, 10-3, for goodness sakes, his first year as a head coach. First game against your former boss, the best team in the country that went 15-0, you got spanked, but like everybody got spanked by Georgia. So I'm not counting that against him. His other 2 losses were 3 points to Washington and 4 points to Oregon State. Like, hell of a first year for Dan Lanning in Oregon. I think they're going to have an even better year 2, especially with Bo Nix coming back. I think he's setting himself up, just like Kalen DeBoer, to be one of those 2 teams that we're going to be talking about every single year going forward, of a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. So he's a hell of a coach. I got him at number 4.
Now, who was that last loss to? The third loss, you said?
Oregon State.
And here we arrive at the actual number 4, John Smith. Instead of settling, Plymouth, he decided to settle out west. And what he has done, Dan Lanning got handed the keys to a Ferrari. It's not to say that he's not a good coach, but he is the stereotypical silver spoon coach in this scenario. John Smith took over an absolute dumpster fire. Oregon State had become a complete joke. He went 2-10 year 1. He then goes 5-7. Then there's COVID. I don't give a shit about COVID. Then 7-6. And then last year in year 5, 10-3 with a dominant bowl win over the Florida Gators. 5 years ago, that would have seemed unreachable.
Florida didn't have a roster.
For an Oregon State Beaver fan. I don't give a shit. 10-3. Should have beat USC. Beat Oregon, who is better, who is way more talented. So I like Dan Lanning. I think it goes John Smith 4, Lanning 5. But I kind of barreled my way through the Riley Whittingham. So if you feel
So
very strongly still,
it
that
doesn't
Lanning
matter.
should
It
be
doesn't
4, you
matter
can.
that Kyle Whittingham beat Lincoln Riley in Lincoln Riley's first season in the Pac-12, but it does matter to you that Dane Lanning in his first season lost to Jonathan Smith.
Yes, because
Like,
most of
where
my
do we draw
Lincoln
the line
Riley
here?
because most of my Lincoln Riley
You're
argument
just
comes to
basing
the
it off
fact
of
that
Big
he's
Ten.
coached. No, he's coached like 5 Heisman winners. He's won like 5 Big 12 championships. Like he has Dan Lanning has no resume. Great start. Let's see if he can keep it going. And I
Hell of a
love
start.
Lanning. I love the
Hell of a
tattoo.
start.
I freaking love the
I
tattoo,
know.
dude. You know that?
I know.
I've talked about it for
All right.
hours. So what are we doing? Lanning, do you want to keep Lanning at 4?
I'm putting my foot down here. I'm going with my former
Wow.
Bulldog here. We're going Lanning at 4.
That's called bias. All right,
He's
so
got a
Lanning
championship.
4. So John Smith 5 then. He doesn't have a fucking championship.
Yes.
That's not true.
John Smith 5.
Okay. And here's where it starts to get weird. Chip Kelly 6 is what I have. What are you at? And I don't feel very
I got Deion 6. I got Deion 6, Chip Kelly 7.
I'm fine with that. I had Prime at 7, right? I mean,
Yep.
part of me was like, Chip Kelly's done it so much longer that I feel like I have to give him credit. I mean, he's responsible for the revolution that took place at Oregon, but Chip Kelly does feel kind of past his prime, whereas Deion seems to be entering his. So I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Prime 6, Kelly 7. I mean, how good is USC going to, or UCLA going to be this year, do you think, though? Because I think they're going to really struggle once they enter the Big Ten, obviously.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle once they enter the Big Ten too. It'll be interesting. He's recruited well. He got a big time quarterback to flip. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play or not. You know, they were a 1-man band last year or I guess a 2-man band with the quarterback and Cabernet there, just the fine wine at the running back spot. So you hit gold with those two. Still weren't able to push past and get to the Pac-12 championship. I don't know, man. I feel like UCLA is a tough place to recruit to. We'll see if they get some more juice because of this new contract with the Big Ten. But I've talked to Newhouse about this in the past. Like they've fallen behind when it comes to facilities. The Rose Bowl is phenomenal, but no one wants to go there. You have no atmosphere when it comes to home games. It's just not a really sexy place at all. And not saying like Colorado isn't, but at least Deion's making it an attractive place for fans and for players. It just seems like UCLA, there really is no interest at all in Bruin football. And I think over the long term, that's going to keep this team from being anywhere close to having success in the Big Ten.
All right. So we're in agreement. Prime 6, Kelly 7. Yep. And I mean, you want to talk about just like an absolute take your pick after this. I got Kenny Dillingham, but I'm just going off of potential. Because we kind of know. Actually, I mean, maybe if you're going to go potential versus potential, maybe go Taylor over Dillingham, since Taylor at least took home a couple of awards in the Big Sky. I don't know. Who do you have at 8? Help me out here.
I had Jed Fish at Arizona. I'm with you. Like after that number 7 spot, the next 5 are kind of just like, hey, throw it up in the air and just maybe see what 6.
Now you meant Jed Fish at Cal? Or no, sorry, Jed Fish at Arizona. My bad. I had Wilcox at Cal. Yeah.
I think the one good thing that they upset UCLA last year. They had an incredible offense with Jaden DeLora there.
Yes.
So I think for them, it's
I could go.
They've
Fish
done a great job
there.
at adding some. Yeah, they've added some defensive depth. They got Justin Flo. But yeah, I think between the offense and DeLore and a decent season last year at 5 and 7, I would put him there at the number 8 spot.
Yeah, and again, the 5 and 7, you'd be like, why the hell are you cheering that on? Okay, 1 and 11 the year before, right? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for turnarounds, and without a doubt, Arizona's in a much better spot today than they were when they hired Jed Fish. Okay, then who do you like? Who do you like after that? I kind of like the job that Jake Dickert did at Washington State. I think he took over a pretty bad situation. They go 7-6 last year. They win in Wisconsin. They were physical. They were fun. They were a team Pullman could get behind. And he took over a very drama-filled environment after all. What's his name? Like when he get vaccinated and like all that madness. I think I could get Dickert at 10, or excuse me, at 9. That would be at 9.
I get Dickert at 9. Too. I got him at 9. I got Dillingham at 10 with the potential a little bit there. Young, offensive minded. it's kind of like throw it in the wind and see if it sticks. But like, I'm kind of banking. I know he's, an experience. He's 32 years old. He's young, but I love the offensive mind.
How
So I'm
about
going to go
this?
with
Okay,
him,
can I
especially on the West
propose something?
Coast. Go.
Should Troy Taylor, new Stanford head coach, should
Yep.
he go over Kenny Dillingham just because he has some skins on the wall, right? They're both
No.
new to the big leagues. So we don't know exactly how they're going to do, but Troy Taylor at least has won 3 Big Sky Conference awards in 1921 and 22. He was a 2-time Big Sky Coach of the Year in 2019 and 2021. Like, I feel like he has to get the nod over Dillingham after bringing Sacramento State to 9-4, 9-3, 12-1 records his last 3 years. And I know it's Sacramento State, but Dillingham has nothing. All Dillingham has is potential at this point.
Yeah, I'm more leaning on the fact that Stanford to me is they had their fun little window there when they had Andrew Luck and won some games with Shaw, but they've just been in a downward spiral, and kind of the reason that Shaw is now no longer the head coach there. So no, I'm not putting Troy Taylor ahead of a guy that I think can at least create some excitement in the Pac-12, create some offense. You look at that side of the country, what do they have? They have great quarterback play. They have great receiver play. So you're going to be able to attract talent to Arizona State for a lot of reasons. It's a beautiful place, and you got a beautiful offense.
Now we're getting to it.
Now we know.
You're literally so horny that you're choosing Kenny Dillingham over Troy Taylor simply because Arizona State has hotter people than Stanford.
Oh, who would you bank on? Stanford, which is extremely hard to get into academically, or would you go to a place like Arizona State that can recruit and recruit?
Well, I would never get into Stanford.
Yeah.
But I think I would put Taylor higher on this list, but I'm not going to knife fight over it. So we can go Dillingham 10, Taylor 11, and the only one that I do feel strongly about is that Justin Wilcox has to be last on this list.
Yes.
He was okay at the beginning of his tenure at Cal. A couple of bowl games early on, even a bowl win in 2019, going 8-5. But now we're in year 6, and there's clear regression, right? 5-7 in 21, 4-8 in 22. When's the last time you ever even when's the last time that Cal football entered your brain as something that mattered? And
Jared Goff?
probably, I was about to say it's not since Goff, right?
Yeah,
so, unfortunately, Justin Wilcox, the worst coach in the Pac-12 for now. I mean, maybe Troy Taylor ends up sucking. Maybe Dillingham does. We don't really know. But Wilcox at the bottom of this list.
Yeah, 100%. Love it. Pac-12 does pretty. I know you said top to bottom pretty strong. I think there is a major line at 7, and it just kind of tumbles from there. I think 1 through 7 is pretty strong. I think 1 through 7 is strong. Whether Lincoln, Whittingham, DeBoer, Lanning, Sanders, Kelly, that's a strong list. Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, but I don't. But
and
the
then
thing is, it's like you said. I don't hate Fish. I like what Fish has done in 2 years, and I think Dickert was really good as well. Turned around a Wazoo program that appeared to be very lost. I think, like you said, Dillingham has some excitement.
I'm saying Jonathan
Troy
Smith
Taylor at least has awards on lower levels. Yeah, no, I know. What I'm saying is I don't hate the bottom group. It's just that a lot of it is potential. Yeah, okay. Shut up, Brum. We got you. Okay, look, we are in a time limit, so we have to go. You're welcome, Ryan Brumley. It's another fat graphic for y'all to not make. I'm just kidding. We're going to make them. We're going to put them out there eventually. But here are your Pac-12 coaches rankings from 12 to 1. 12, Cal's Justin Wilcox at 11. Stanford's Troy Taylor at 10. Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham at 9. Washington State's Jake Dickert at 8. Arizona's Jed Fish at 7. UCLA's Chip Kelly. Colorado and Prime checking at 6. Dan Lanning, Oregon at 5. John Smith, Oregon State 4. Or did I screw that up? I was supposed to switch up. Sorry. Smith 5, Lanning 4. Kalen DeBoer 3 from Washington. Kyle Whittingham and the Utah 2. And Lincoln Riley, USC, number 1 coach in the Pac-12.